Hello everyone! The other day I uploaded a full playthrough of Highmountain, but I can completely understand if you don't have the time to sit through such a long video. That's why I thought it'd be a good idea to make a summarized version of the main storyline, but do keep in mind, there are spoilers coming. If you don't want any spoilers for Legion, then let me just say thank you very much for joining, and please turn off the video right now. Let's begin, shall we? The story in Highmountain only has a very minor difference between the Alliance and the Horde, at least as far as I could find. Now we start our adventure with Warbrave Oro, who's been sent by his High Chieftain Ulan to offer the aid of his people. These Highmountain Tauren have a Titan relic called the Hammer of Kaskarov in their possession, and will surely need this relic to defeat the Burning Legion. As we arrive in Highmountain, Oros tells us that a meeting of the High Chieftains has been called to discuss the coming Legion. Even the Drogbar Underking Dargrul was invited to the party, yet the negotiations, they ended in disaster. Dargrul has stolen the Hammer of Kaskarov, but they're still trying to convince him to hand it over so that we can use it against the Legion. That's around the time where we come into the zone, and it seems like the Underking, he's not willing to play nice. With the hammer, he claims the mountain and imprisons several of the tribesmen. With the power of our special artifacts, we're able to liberate these tribesmen, and we even try to confront Dargrul together with Oro. The power of the hammer is incredible though. The Warbraves are murdered on the spot, and the only reason why we survive is to tell the tale and send a warning to the others. It's going to take the full might of the Highmountain tribes to retrieve the artifact to take down Dargrul. We report to Myla Highmountain, who's now the new High Chieftain, since her father, he was killed by the Drogbar as they claimed the hammer. After helping Myla out, we offer our aid to the Rivermane and Skyhorn chieftains to help them with their problems, and in exchange, they pledge their loyalty to Myla and Highmountain once more. We try to do the same for the Blood Totem tribe, yet it seems like the Legion got there before us. A Drogbar by the name of Navarok, he's been captured by the Blood Totem, and he warns us that they've gone mad with power. We're asked to investigate for ourselves, and as we do, we find out that the Tauren, they're now sipping on the demon juice, and they've allied themselves with the Legion. After rescuing Navarok, we show the Blood Totem tribe that they've picked the wrong side, and after taking out their chieftain, Navarok and his fellow Drogbar of the Stone Dark tribe, they pledge their allegiance to Highmountain and Myla. With these three tribes united, it's time to go to war and take down the Underking. A great battle follows, with us being victorious, yet Dargrul's skill and power with the artifacts, they've only grown since the first time that he picked it up. The land itself rises up against the Warbraves, and the main storyline within the zone, it ends with us taking down the wrath of Dargrul. This is not the end of the story though, as with each zone and legion, the story flows into the dungeon, in this case Neltharion's lair, but this one was not available for testing at the time. This means that I can't show you what's going to happen inside, yet the end result, it seems pretty clear. We'll take down whatever is in our path, we'll take down the Underking, and we'll get our hands on the Hammer of Kaskarov. One step closer to sealing the rift and stopping this Legion invasion. Now, as I mentioned at the start, there is a minor difference between the Alliance and the Horde in this storyline, and this takes place as we explore the history of Highmountain. When the final tribe pledged their loyalty to Myla, Spirit Walker Ebonhorn, he invites us on a little spirit journey. Here we see the War of the Ancients, over 10,000 years ago, the very first invasion of the Legion on Azeroth. Huln Highmountain joins the Night Elf forces in their battle against the Legion, and he was such a mighty champion that the zone itself is named after him, and the artifact for survivor hunters, this is going to be Huln's weapon. Now after the spirit journey, Ebonhorn takes us along the path of Huln, the same path this legendary warrior walked as he went on his final hunt. For the Alliance, we'll see Bran Bronzebeard joining us on this journey, who is mostly interested in the connection to the Titans, and for the Horde, it's Bane Bloodhoof that joins the party, and Bane, he seems to be more interested in offering their aid to the Highmountain tribe, as well as forging an allegiance. Along the path, we encounter a time echo, which means that something very bad happened here. For Huln, the War of the Ancients did not end at the Well of Eternity. With the Legion defeated, he focuses on the monster that got away. Now the history behind this is that during the War of the Ancients, the Black Dragon aspect Deathwing, he convinced his fellow aspects to give up a portion of their power, and they placed it within an artifact called the Dragon Soul, later to be known as the Demon Soul. Unknown to all of them though, was that Deathwing had gone mad while listening to the whispers of the the old gods, and on the battlefield, he betrayed them all. He used the artifact not only against the Legion, he also shot at the Night Elves, and even his fellow dragons were not safe. Near the end of the war, Deathwing himself was betrayed by the old gods, his madness now clear for all to see, and it seems that Hoon was brave enough to seek out the dragon aspect in an attempt to finish him off once and for all. The echoes of the past, they show us how Hoon tries to communicate with the Drogbar. At the time, the Drogbar were still enslaved to Deathwing, or Neltharion as his real name is, and with the Drogbar's aid, they find out about the Hammer of Kaskarov. The artifact's power is great, but not even this Titan relic can end the threat of Deathwing. Instead, they use its powers to banish Deathwing from their lands, and I believe that this is the moment where they banish the dragon aspect out of his lair and into the elemental plane of Earth. Namely Deepholm. I could be wrong though, it could be that they send him somewhere else, but it seems to make the most sense. Either way, Deathwing is banished out of his lair, yet Bran and Ebonhorn, they aren't quite done yet. Bran Bronzebeard needs our aid as he collects some Titan discs, yet I wasn't able to find a follow-up questline for this. Maybe he'll show up later again, maybe this is it, who knows? And Ebonhorn turns out to be Rephion in disguise. The one uncorrupted black dragon has returned to his father's lair, or at least according to Rephion, Deathwing is actually his father, that's up for debate. Either way, he's here in the hope of buying his flight a future. The time echoes around the vault, they've safeguarded a few black dragon eggs predating Deathwing's corruption, and Rephion collects the eggs and sends them away to a safe place. This means that hopefully soon, Rephion will no longer be the only uncorrupted black dragon, and it's a little bit weird how all of this works though, since Deathwing, even before Deathwing was turned into a dragon, before the Titans turned it to an aspect, he was already listening to the whispers of the old gods. I guess listening to the whispers is not the same as actually being corrupted by them, and apparently there was a time where the black dragon eggs were uncorrupted. On top of that, currently it stands that dragons can no longer reproduce. This was hinted at in the novel Dawn of the Aspects and later confirmed by people working at Blizzard on Twitter, but hopefully for Rephion and the future of the black dragons, they've reversed that decision, and hopefully we'll see a lot of uncorrupted black dragon whelps and the rebirth of his flight. As we finish up our business within the vault, both Bran and Bane, they're pretty pissed at Rephion. Don't forget that it was because of him and the bronze dragon Kairos Dormu that Garrosh escaped his prison and started the events of Warlords of Draenor. Rephion explains that it was a simple oopsie. Garrosh was supposed to convince the Iron Horde not to invade Azeroth. He was supposed to convince them to help them fight against the Legion. We now know what exactly the Black Prince was trying to do by releasing Garrosh, and his plans, they simply backfired. We're now weaker than we were at the end of Mr. Pandaria, considering that the alternates, they're staying on Draenor. Blizzard has said that they're not going to join us in our reality, which means that we won't have any additional troops on top of the troops that we lost while fighting the Iron Horde. Not to mention that it's alternate Gul'dan who opens up the rift, starts this brand new Legion invasion. By trying to save the world, by trying to get aid and a whole new faction to help us fight against the Legion, Rephion actually did the opposite. He caused a lot more damage. But there you go, ladies and gentlemen, that's the main story within Highmountain. Now there are some minor side quests here and there. There is Hammett Nessingwary, for example, who dislikes gnome hunters for some reason, but we'll cover those possibly later when Alpha opens up again, or perhaps when Legion is actually live. For now, thank you very much for watching, everyone. Subscribe if you like my videos, leave a like if you enjoyed this one, and until next time, guys, see ya!